Okay, so this is the episode of Polymathematical. It's not going to be the only one for today. This is just a little review of the results of the local elections which were just held yesterday. Most of the results have come in for today, though not all of them have. We've got big wins for Lib Dems. They've gained, they gained 601 seats from their 2015 local election results, which is huge, to be honest. And Lib Dems were really kind of at the back of my mind for politics up until today. Really, I kind of thought that they were a bit of a spent force, but I got to give it to them. They're doing quite well. And as well as that, we've also got the other results for the Labour Party. They have lost seats. That is a net loss on their half. They've lost 101 seats, bringing them down to 1,838 seats. And then the Conservatives have suffered huge losses. They're down at 3,204, with losses of 1,141 seats as of right now. This may change later because there's still about 40 more councils to declare. I'm not sure how many seats that equates to, but it's about a fifth of the seats that are available. So it is actually still quite a large amount that I've yet to declare. So I'm really not sure on what sort of numbers that would constitute, but probably still quite a lot of seat numbers to declare. It might end up being a net positive for Labour, but if it is, it'll be very marginal. It's not really the big win that Labour was hoping for, because this was supposed to be their sort of preview into how the population was looking at them as a government alternative to the Conservatives. And the Conservatives are not getting a lot of love right now. They're really not. They get a lot of hate. 1,141 seat losses. That's huge. Now, my reasoning behind this is because of the absolute fucking incompetence of Theresa May and her government, and the slew of governors who've fucking been leaving her government. I think there's been over 10 different ministers have been sacked in this government. I'd need to have a look through some of the other governments in the past, but I'd put money on saying that that is one of the largest amount of ministers that has ever been removed, sacked, resigned from a government. Like, the most haphazard government there has ever been. Just musical chairs up in that bitch. People changing from government all the fucking damn time. But anyway, and my reasoning behind the Lib Dems getting such a large gain is due to them being the only party that actually definitively supports the Remain movement. That's not me putting my flag down as I'm a Remainer. Well, I am. That's going to be something I get into further later on. But I think it's just a fact, because you've got 47% of the UK that voted Remain, and Labour has not definitively said that they are aiming for a second referendum or trying to stop Brexit. And the Lib Dems are the only one who are offering a real alternative to the Conservatives' frankly quite mad version of leaving the EU without a deal. And we'll go into that in a later video. Why it is so crazy how they want to leave the EU. As well as that, we've got the Green Party making some good gains. They've gained 165 seats, bringing their total to 224 seats, which is positive, which is really positive. It makes me a bit hopeful. I'm thinking that it might be due to a bit more climate awareness, but also it's looking at them as an alternative to the Conservatives, I'd say. I think that I think it's just a alternative to the Labour Party, as the Green Party are a bit more left. But it's more of a recognition of the awareness of climate change in politics right now. This being down to people like Greta Thunberg and Extinction Rebellion, which is a huge movement which is happening down in London and hopefully continues to happen. I'm not sure if protests are still going on there, but there were some absolutely massive protests, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. Moving on, we've also got UKIP. They have lost as many, well, net-wise, they've lost as many seats as Labour has, and they're down at 30 seats. That makes me happy, I'll be honest. I think they're kind of they're just a bigoted party, to be honest. I'm not saying that everybody who supports UKIP is bigoted, but I'd say that they're dog whistling the fuck out of people, and they're kind of taking advantage of deprived areas and giving them a scapegoat. They're giving EU immigrants a scapegoat it's a scapegoat for the failure of the government to provide people in the area secure employment and actual opportunities to gain employment and to just improve their lives, really, and a whole host of other shit as well. And then with the remaining seats as well, you've got 1,033 separate seats. These are separate from the main parties. I think that'll probably include the Scottish council seats, or is this just for seats? It might just be the seats in England. I do need to. Yeah, these are just the England ones. So there'll be some Irish ones which will be in there as well. So there'll be probably some DUP local council seats in there as well. But the majority of those seats will be held by independents, I believe, and other smaller regional parties in certain areas. Now, I would also just want to point to another thing with Labour and why I think that they've suffered a net loss rather than the huge gains that the Lib Dems have had in theirs. I think that is from not putting down their flag on the Remain side. However, if they had said that they wanted to remain, I think that they might have suffered even worse. I think they would have suffered actually a lot worse than they have today. This sort of like middle line that they're sort of like treading, that Corbyn is walking across and trying to keep it, where he's willing to do Brexit, but he's also putting a second referendum as an option, I think is a tightrope to walk, and he's not doing it masterfully, but he's doing it okay. And I think that if he put his flag down in the Remain side of things, there could be a lot more losses for him due to the heavy concentration of Labour seats in northern areas. There were some losses in Labour-held areas in the north anyway. There was a lot of losses in the northwest, and I believe a lot of losses in the northwest and northeast. These being the two most deprived areas and areas which will have voted most for Brexit in possibly the country. The northwest and northeast are some of the most economically deprived areas in the country. And I think this does lend to that because Labour voters in the area would have also been Brexit voters as well. And I think the fact that Labour is being quite wishy-washy about where they stand on Brexit is costing them votes, and people are turning to the Conservatives because they're very hard Brexit. And you can also see there's not really been many gains for the Conservatives in the northwest, but it's the area where they've lost the least seats. And in the northeast, they've actually gained some seats as well. So I would say that sort of pans out with what I was saying. But anyway, I think that is everything regarding the local election. Keep watching for another video coming our way in about probably about 2 hours or so, and that'll be going over the police cuts in the UK, and as well as that, I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it's a personal story from a police officer and his experience of being a police officer in London and how he actually feels unsafe. It's anonymous, but it is from The Guardian, and it's basically a description of how he feels unsafe in the area due to the underfunding of the job and stuff like that. Alright, thank you. I hope you like, share and subscribe, and yeah, get to be more of a polymath, I guess. Alright, thank you.